All right, let's see how that works. Hopefully, guys, I'm back live. Seems to have fixed the issue. Let's see who's still with me. All right, I'm back, guys. So I just did a little reboot on my router and my modem. It seems to have fixed it. I guess that's like the universal fix for 99% of all computer internet problems, is to just reboot my hardware. I don't know why that would be. Seems like an odd need. Like, I understand the technology behind it, but it's still annoying. So let me just get a sec for everyone to load in, and then we'll get into all the juice. Thanks for sticking around. Back on, welcome back. Here. Got everyone, almost everyone back. Welcome back, guys. Okay, guys, just give me a sec. Waiting for people to get back in, and then we can get into some fun stuff. Talk about what I'm gonna be working on today. Got lots to discuss, lots of updates and other kinds of things as well. What's the juice? Oh, there's much juice. I got some drama for you guys. I got a rant, a really good rant actually, regarding like painting and commission work and artists and all this kind of stuff, which I'm going to get into in a bit. But I'm just going to wait for more people to tune in. So while we're waiting for everyone to tune in, guys, I'll take you through what we're going to be working on. So today, for those of you that know, I'm starting an Eldar army. I finished this guy last week, I think. And when I was doing this on stream, this Eldar guy, this is the first of my Eldar. This is my test model. And this is one of the great things about test models, is like you paint it and then you learn a lot about like how I'm going to do this technique faster in the future. And one of the things that I like about doing test models is not only do you learn how you're going to do the technique, but you kind of like you start to figure out like what are the steps that you did when you paint something that were maybe unnecessary. So there's like maybe like I did one more base coat than I needed, or one more highlight than I needed, or one more shading than I needed. So through the process of doing the test model, and this is why I think it's really important to do a test model, not so much like you're learning how to paint the scheme, so you're figuring out what is my exact colors going to be, but B, you're also kind of trial and erroring different techniques on like different areas and like whether you like them or not. And I painted this model, and if you guys will remember, when I went to go do the blade, there were some suggestions in chat that I should do kind of a fiery blade, and I was like, yeah, I should do a fiery blade. So, but I ended up painting the blade off stream, and I painted the model, and then I sat on this model for about a week, and what I realized is I don't like how the blade is. Like, I like the idea of the fiery blade, but I don't like how I executed it. So what I thought I could do today is, instead of going back and potentially ruining this model and fixing it and not being happy with the result, the plan today is I have another warlock, which is this guy, which is my other favorite model. And what I want to do is actually I'm going to start with the blade. Now, obviously I've done the airbrushing, but instead of basically doing the blade the same way, I actually want to start with the blade with this today. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do basically like a power sword tutorial. And I'm going to paint this the way that I think I actually want it painted. And then if I like it, I'm going to go back to the other model and repaint it. But what I don't want to do is repaint that one and then end up hating it and then having to do that multiple times. Whereas this model, I still have lots of opportunities. So the only thing I've done on this model is the base coat airbrushing. And if you guys want to check that out, look at my stream from last week when I started the Eldar. And then I went back after with a little bit of white ink, and I just painted the airbrush in white, or sorry, the airbrush in white, the blade in white. And that was kind of the only other step I've done. And I just did that off camera because it's kind of boring and we don't need to sit there watching wet paint dry. But one of the things the way that I'm going to do this and the way I'm going to approach this is, the first time I did the blade, I'll bring this guy back. you'll notice that I did it kind of a very traditional dark to light, kind of like light at the tips, dark in the middle. That's kind of very traditional how people do power swords. But I think I want to do two things. First, I want to reverse it. So I want to do like an actual lava blade where the hottest part is on the inside and then it gets darker towards the outside. So it's like the heat is coming from the inside of the blade rather than the tip of the blade. So in this case, the hottest part, quote unquote, is the tip. But I actually want the heat to almost be like coming from the inside, almost like a lava, like from the inside out versus the outside in, right? Second, and I'm gonna go grab my soul drinkers. So hang on one sec. And we'll talk about my soul drinkers. I got lots of comment about those. I want to give the blade more of a power, like high contrast look like this versus this kind of like just blended basic look. So this is kind of like a very high contrast, almost like a non-metallic metal style where it's like a lot of really intense blends. So I want the blade closer to this than I do to this. And you can see the big difference in the blade. So what I'm going to do is this technique that I have here, I'm actually going to do on this blade, and I'm going to show you guys how I achieved that technique. I think this is actually one of the first models I painted for my soul drinkers. I was like lieutenant, so that's soul drinkers, which they are up for sale now, my soul drinkers, guys, if you're interested. And we'll get into that in a bit. So that's going to be the, I guess, the work for today. And I'm going to show you guys, kind of take you through that technique, and hopefully you guys learn a little bit. And this is actually a great model for it because if you look at it from the top down, like the blade is like basically right there. So for this, I'm going to get my colors out, and then we'll just get into some chatting. So, hey, Fat Dingo, how's it going, man? So for this, what I'm going to start with is, so I'm going to definitely have my white because I want it to be hottest, like white color. I want to get my yellow. So white and yellow, this is so far. You guys will notice that I'll primarily use Pro Acryl paints. They're definitely my favorite paints. We want some red in there. And I think I want a little bit of dark red for like just the really dark spots. And we'll grab some Galvo Black red. I really like this red because it's got a bit of a pinkish purple tone to it. And I'm gonna grab just a touch of black as well, and that's gonna just kind of bring for the really dark area. So these are the colors I'm gonna use. You'll notice there's no orange in there, and that's by design because I'm gonna just kind of go between these colors and make my own orange. But also the other thing is too is when I think about the range of colors I want this blade to look, I don't want orange to be a big value in like the range of colors. I kind of want it to be like red to hot yellow to white in a very small amount of space. So you'll notice like on this blade, see how there's like basically like it's basically white, a very dark green, almost black, and then a mid-tone green. There's actually yellow in this, but you don't see the yellow. It doesn't pick up as yellow. But on my way to the white, I actually do have a little bit of yellow in there. But because I don't want it to read as yellow or give it a yellow look, the amount of yellow in there is very, very subtle. And with this blade, I don't want it to read orange at all. I want it to kind of read more yellow and red than I do, and black than I do in white, than I do orange. So I'm going to be really careful with that. All right. So I'm going to kind of start going, and I'll talk through kind of some of the steps as I go. But other than that, yeah, let's talk some other things. So a few things, guys, before we get too deep in. Please make sure to like and subscribe the channel, both on Twitch and YouTube. It's really helpful. I'm trying to get up to 600 followers on Twitch. I have 11 days to go, which is about 1.5 followers a day, which is not a lot, but that would be amazing. And then on YouTube, I'm 100 followers away, about 95 followers away from 2,000. So make sure the best thing you guys can do to help the channel is to share it on your social media, or like it, or yeah, just give me a thumbs up. That's really helpful. Second of all, guys, I do have a Discord. It's not super active right now because mostly I'm using it for announcements and stuff, but I definitely like to build it up a bit. have more people engaged in the Discord. If there's like tutorials you guys want to see, or certain techniques you want to see, or things you want to talk about on stream, or just questions you want to ask, whether it's gameplay or painting and stuff, the Discord's kind of the best place to post it. So if you check the show notes on the YouTube, they should be there. I believe they're somewhere on Twitch as well. Let me just go see because I'm dumb. No, they're not on the Twitch. I will add them to the Twitch soon. But if you go to my Twitch and you go to the about and there's a link tree, that link tree has a link to the YouTube. Also, if anyone has free Amazon Prime subs and wants to throw them my way, I'm always happy to take them. I'm officially now unemployed, so not that I won't be streaming full time, but it's much appreciated. I'm paying hosting costs and server costs and all that kind of stuff. So with that said, let's get into some drums. So I'm gonna just start painting here, and I'll talk through a little bit, and hopefully we'll get through some other stuff. So first thing I'm actually gonna do, I think I'm going to do the whole blade in very thin yellow and white. So I'll just put a little bit of... Do you guys enjoy seeing my wet palette? Is that something that you guys would like to see? Because I do, I used to have a wet palette cam, but like I didn't think it was that helpful. But if you guys feel like it's helpful, I can have a second cam where like in the corner you can actually see my wet palette, kind of what I'm mixing up. Let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see. Okay, so I've made like a very super thin, just yellow. Oh, here we go. Very, very thin. I'm just going to kind of give the blade a nice little glaze of this. Remember, guys, when we're doing this kind of work, we want to be very thin with our paints. And it's going to be lots of work, lots of little layers. Also, if any of my friends are watching this right now, secretly, I found out recently that like 2 or 3 of my friends watch my channel, like my real life friends. But they don't interact. They just kind of like throw it on and they watch secretly. So if any of my real life friends are in the chat room and watching right now, say hello, so I know you're there, and it'll make me feel really good. Otherwise, I will pretend that you're just liars and you don't actually watch the channel. So, okay, so just really thin layer of yellow. Also, let me know what you guys are working on. I'm always interested. And if you guys want to post photos of your stuff in the Discord, lots of people have been posting stuff as well in there. All right, so I gotta give you guys my thoughts on the new Dark Reapers. I actually don't like them at all. Well, sorry, I don't like the heads. And I know there's lots of controversy in the heads, but hold. I think the heads are actually the least problematic part. For me, I don't know what it is about the current Dark Reapers, but they have a much like bulkier feel. These ones almost look like they lost weight. Like I don't know if it's because of like the new plastic technology, but they just look a little bit too skinny to me. I'm not sure if I love that they're so skinny basically. So guys, so I've done this little bit of yellow, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna basically sketch out the values for and then do the wet blending. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab and this is gonna look really weird when I do it, but I'm gonna do basically let's see here. So we're gonna do yellow at the tip here on this side. Actually, I should use a good brush, not this one. We're gonna do yellow at the tip here, and see kind of how I do this. So I'm gonna do yellow here. Let's see if I can turn down the exposure a bit, because I feel like you guys are getting too bright. No, that's too dark. Go to, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work. It's almost like it's like is that better or is that worse? What do you think? I don't like, it's really hard to see just because it's so bright. The go back up there. Okay, we're gonna yellow at the tip there. We're gonna kind of do an opposite end of yellow here, yellow here, and then kind of yellow here, just like that. So I've kind of done an alternating pattern like that, and I'm just gonna do the top of the blade today. Actually, yeah, I just want to do the top of the blade to kind of demonstrate this technique. So I've kind of alternated patterns of yellow. And then I'm going to pick my dark spots. So it's going to be, get some of that Galvabrack red. And this is going to look really whack. And again, I'm going really thin here. So my red is going to be here. 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 On the opposite. So I'm kind of doing almost a checkerboard pattern. I don't know if you guys can tell. And then kind of just in there, we're going to do that dark red. Okay, so this looks kind of really crazy, right? So I've done like basically just really rough block-ins of the colors. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my mid-tone red. And I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to kind of put it, I'm going to put it in between the colors. So I'll tell you what that looks like. So now I'm going to do a little bit of mid-tone red in between here. 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 Just like that. And again, this looks like really ridiculous. Yeah, this is going to look really bad and then it'll come together. So just bear with me. So what this is called, or what I like to call it, is like value sketching, which is essentially what we're trying to do is block out in our heads where we want the dark spots and the light spots. And so this is kind of placing values on the blade. And then I'm going to kind of repeat this process. And again, I'm going to be using very, very thin paints. So now I'm making a little bit of orange with my a mix here of orange. And I'm going to basically do the same thing. And I'm going to do that here and here and here. So between the light red and the dark red, or the mid red, I'm going to do the orange. Just like that. And then here. Okay, so you guys are kind of starting to get the idea a little bit. Okay, so you got the hot spots, the light spots, and the garbage spots, okay? So now this is where I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna basically start a process of glazing super, super thin. And so first what I wanna do is I generally like to glaze from light to dark because it's always easier to build, it's always easier to lay dark color on top of light color later than it is to build up a bunch of dark color and then add all my light color. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with my yellow. And I'm going to show you guys how thin this paint is going to be, but it's going to be kind of crazy thin. So let's just bring my wet palette over for you so you guys can see it. So here's my wet palette. I'll show you guys really quick. So, and I'm just going to use, I like to use a little bit of Lamy medium. I know a lot of people just use straight water, but I just find the Lamy medium, it just helps with like the drying. I just find it helps with the drying like consistency, and also it just helps with like keeping everything the kind of same consistency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little pile of lemon medium here. I'm going to take a bit of yellow, and I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow in there, and that's kind of my glaze. So look how thin that is, guys. It's like super thin. It's almost, I'll put a little bit on my hand so you can see it. So it's like, it's almost like indistinguishable in my hand, right? Like you can barely tell that there's even paint on my hand. That's how thin it is. And that's really the thinness that we need to be using for these glazes. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start by actually glazing the whole thing in this yellow. And that's going to help kind of bind some of these colors together. So I'm going to go over the whole blade again with the yellow. And it's almost like an indiscernible change in the color. Like you can barely even tell that I've done anything. And a really important here is that you don't let it pool. So a lot of times when we're doing like washes or stuff, it'll pool. I'm doing like a glaze, which means it should be basically a thin like coat on it, but almost no pooling, I guess. Okay, and now I'm gonna start with my very bright spots, which I've kind of valued out here. And I'm going to start kind of glazing out. So here, here, here. I'm kind of just glazing in between. And that's it. Okay, so I stop. Now I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. Again, I'm gonna be repeating this process over and over and over. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna slowly kind of build up that color transition, and we're gonna see where we end up. So I think, oh yeah, back to Dark Reapers. So while I do this, I think for my Dark Reapers, what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna either give them completely bare heads. And I know bare heads is like technically Inari, but fuck it, I can do whatever I want. I don't own any Eldar like these Eldar models that I own is all I have. So I'm actually not even sure what kind of bits are available. So I think one of my first buys will be a box of Guardians, because I assume the Guardians will get lots of like different bits and heads and all sorts of things. And then when I get the Dark Reapers, I'm either going to go all bare heads, because I think Eldar are pretty. They should have bare heads. Or what I'm going to do, and this is kind of a cool idea I had. I don't know what you guys think of this, but I'm thinking like, I've always been really like wanting to do a Wraith army. And so one thing I thought would be cool was either to, if I can find the heads, or if I can just make them myself, but essentially putty over the heads so they're like perfectly smooth, almost like Wraithguard, and then do like runes on them. So it's like they basically, my Dark Reapers are almost like Wraith Reapers, and like the heads would be like the smooth kind of Wraithguard heads with no expression, and then I would do like a runes or something like that on the face instead of like the helmeted heads. So those are my two ideas, and I think I can do them both perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is, once I get the kit in my hands, I'm gonna test one with the Wraith process, because I did something similar to my Pink Horrors when I did them. I actually puttied over their eyes so they had smooth faces, and it turned out really cool and really creepy. So I thought maybe something like that could be cool. So you guys, you can see I'm kind of waiting it for each layer to dry as I go. And I'm leaving that little dark spot of red in every layer. You can see slowly the red underneath is starting to get like disappear more and more. Okay. And then this is where I kind of gonna go back and forth here. And now I'm going to go in with like a little bit of the red and do the exact same thing, but now kind of the opposite. So now on this like really dark spot, I'm going to kind of glaze in some of that dark red. So just like right here, and just right here, just right here. And what I'm basically doing is I'm creating kind of these opposite patterns. Okay. You can see kind of it's slowly, like the colors are slowly starting to blend together a bit. I will not be at LBO, guys, sorry. As much as I'd love to come, it's just with the border restrictions, it just doesn't make sense. I'm not playing right now. I almost thought about coming just to like hang out and like, you know, do some fun stuff, but in the end, it just didn't make sense for me. I'm gonna be doing some traveling in February in Europe. So if any of my followers are European, I'd love to hear from you. Followers, I make it sound like a cult. And don't worry, guys, if you go over stuff here, because we're going to go, everything's going to get kind of redone multiple times. I'm thinking I'm going to be going to Portugal in February, but I want to do a stop in the UK, and I'm going to be stopping in Italy, and I'm going to be stopping in France. So if anyone that, are you guys listening, that lives in those places, let me know. Not that I'm going to come visit you, but I wouldn't mind getting some like tips and stuff. So going back to the yellow. And as I'm doing this, and I'm kind of figuring out where I want the highlights. Don't be scared to like Don't be scared to like go over old spots, right? So let's see here. I want a bit more yellow strength. It feels like it's a little bit too red still. So I'm going to go in with a bit more. I'm adding a bit more yellow to my yellow glaze, just to make it a bit stronger. And the key here is that I'm glazing, which means it's very thin layers that are transparent. And each of those transparent layers, as it dries, is going to tint the color below. And by building this up over many, many kind of like, I guess, parts, we're going to get an effect that we like. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of orange. There. 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 Oh, this is gonna be my new army, my new 40k army. I want to do an Eldar army. I'm excited for that. I don't know what the rules are like, and frankly, I don't really care. I'm just excited to paint some models that aren't power armor. Hey man, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I always said I would like to do Eldar. The thing that's always held me back is the range has been so old. So as they're getting like a new range now, I'm excited to kind of do them. Okay, so another little glaze. Okay, so now I'm gonna look at it. And I'll notice, I'll take a look and I'm like, where is the blends smooth and where are they abrupt? So you can look here. See, it's fairly smooth going on this top side, but then you look here and it's kind of like abrupt. So this is where I'm going to do a little bit more work. I'm going to create, go back with my like red glaze and kind of glaze it into the spot that seems like it's kind of rough. And then same with this. Up there. Okay. Now I think I need a bit more orange kind of glaze. Like this area here. And then like this area here. And this is just one style of Venom Blade. Sorry, of heat Venom Blade. I don't know what I call it, Venom Blade. Of like a hot blade. There's actually another technique where we can do kind of an inside out look, which I might try as well if I don't like the outcome of this. I'm just going over some orange, kind of glazing in these spots. Oh, we got a Russian bot, guys. Yeah, I mean, Glen Power, are you surprised? Has there been any edition where Eldar have not been busted? To be honest, right? Like in ninth, they're only not busted because their book isn't out. But like, has there been any edition that once their book came out, Eldar were not really good? Like towards the tail end of 8th, but only because they're one of the first books. It's kind of like a Eldar meme at this point that like, if you play Eldar, you get a busted book. Kind of like a rite of passage. Okay, so you can see now there's like quite a bit of orange in there, which I don't like. Also, I want to kind of reinforce the darkness around the base. I'm just going to go into some dark red here. Some almost like pure Galvaback red. Just to give the base like a little bit of an end point here. Because I don't want to do these crazy blends near the handle. I want to kind of start kind of near the top. Okay, so now looking at it. Let's see. So I see these spots that are orange. I want to add more yellow there. So I'm going to go in with some yellow. And then here, feels like it's not red enough. You can see how the blade is slowly starting to kind of come together. You guys remember what it looked like at the start? Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with some more yellow. Again, just building up the spots where I want the brightest, like here. Here. Okay, and then where I want the darkest. Again, thinking about my transitions, so okay, now I want to start to go really dark and really bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of white to my yellow, because I want to start to kind of develop the really strong spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a little bit of white here, a little bit of white here, a little bit of white here, a little bit of white here. Okay. And then I'm going to get my really dark color. I'm going to do the same. So I want the darkest red down here. It's around here. Here the tip. Reinforcing those dark colors. Okay. Okay, now again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to blend some of these colors a bit more. Find some midtones in my palette. You can see what my palette looks like right now. It's just kind of like a mix of like random oranges and reds. So I'm going to blaze in some orange here. Blaze in some orange here. Orange here. Blaze in some orange here. Okay. Now I can see that I don't like how this transition looks, so I'm going to add a little bit of red. Like that. Okay, now, I don't know if you guys see where this is going, right? I'm going to reinforce some of the highlights on the base again. I want it nice and dark down here. Okay, now I'm just going to now kind of continue this process and just smooth out some of these highlights. So getting a really thin yellow glaze, just like here, and here, and here, and here. Okay. Redemptor, another gladiator. I haven't painted any of those new tanks. Okay, now I'm gonna go a little bit of my red. Here. And just here. Here. Okay, now it's like too much red, so I'm gonna go back a little bit like the orange. Kind of this like back and forth. Just a lot of patience, kind of glazing back and forth. Because I don't want there to be any transition steps. I want it to look super smooth. So sometimes you have to kind of go back and forth multiple times to fix that. You can see how thin my paint is. Also, guys, I need a big favor from you. Sometimes I wear a hat on stream, which I'm not going to be doing anymore. But I watch back my VODs and like I notice my hat gets in the picture. So let me please know if there's any time where like my dumb head, or like the front of my hat is in the frame. You guys please let me know. Because I can't, when I'm looking down and then I look up and I don't see it. So I'm like, and then I go back and watch the VOD. I'm like, fuck, my hat was in the head a bunch of times. All right. So now we're at a point where I'm pretty happy with the blends. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do I'm going to do some like, and this is more of like a visual quality. Oh, crap. Oops. This putty's not the greatest. I don't know why these fucking GW handle holders only hold fucking... Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna switch. Oh shit. They only hold 20, 30 mil bases or bigger. Kind of annoying. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it on a cork. I guess that's better. No, that's not any better. Not one of these. Now these big corks that I got from I can't remember. There's like, I was trying to find these bigger corks, and there's a cork store online that sells them. So a little bit of double-sided tape. You can do this with like wood dowels if you have them. There's double-sided tape like that. Piece of cork. I got like a 300 pack of these corks plus normal. There's like assorted corks and stuff. Super cheap. Come on. All right. Boom. Yeah. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so what I want to do here, and this is just to help me personally, is I like to paint the things that are around the base of the blade. I like to kind of pick out first, because sometimes when they're kind of mixed in, it's hard to kind of really tell the like composition of the blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all this stuff that's like not the blade black, and that'll help me kind of visualize what the blade's going to look like, because when that stuff kind of fades in with your painting, it's hard to kind of tell like what the final product's going to look like, because it kind of looks messy. I'm just painting like the soulstone here in black, and then anything that like is not going to be part of the blade, and that'll just help me visualize kind of like the final look of the blade. And see, I haven't painted the bottom. I'll paint the bottom after. Yeah, anyway, so that's my thought on the Eldar. So I got to tell you guys a story about my soul drinkers. So as you guys know, I put my soul drinkers up for sale last week, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me to like, why are you selling them? Is there like, are you poor? Well, not really. I don't actually really need to sell them. Like, I'm not in any financial hardship. What I realized is like, I'm such a one army man, and like I'm so like all in with like certain armies that like it's really hard for me to play and collect like more than one army. And then the other thing is, as much as I like the army, I just realized that like Space Marines in general is not something that I enjoy playing. For me, Soul Drinkers were more of a hobby project than anything. And at this point, I kind of want to do like a bit of a full clear and reset of like all my stuff, so I have like a clean slate. But, and here's the thing, I'm not like, I don't need to sell them. So when I listed them for quite a lot of money. So I listed them for, and you got, some people will balk at this. I listed them for $9 grand, right? Now, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money for an army. And it's not like a tournament winning list of like, it's not like a meta list that you can go take and you're going to win tournaments with. Like, the army itself is actually not like, there's like 60 intercessors, for instance. There's dreadnoughts, there's drop pods, there's lots of characters, but like the majority of the army is actually like and there's like 18 centurions or 24 centurions. So it's not like a good army by meta standards. And so in order to probably make it competitive, you're probably going to need to add a bunch more. So it's like, well, where do I get off selling it for that? And I had actually, I posted it in like 3 or 4 marketplace groups, like the Warhammer traders, etc., etc. And I got a very big mix of like reactions for the price. And I have a lot of thoughts on it. Just give me 1 sec. I just got to do something really quick, and I'll be back. And I'm gonna give you guys like my full, like, as an artist's thoughts on like pricing. And I have like a big rant on like pricing and stuff. So just give me 2 seconds. Okay, so here's my thing. When I priced out the army, I actually put it in my normal spreadsheet that I use for commission painting, and I priced it out based on if someone had asked me to paint this army for them, what would I have charged? So, and the $9,000 is actually on the low end, because for some of the characters, like basically I had 14 individual characters, 14 independent characters, and some, like my Ragnar Black main, which I'll grab so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So some of the characters in this army, some of the characters in this army took me like many, like this model itself is one of the characters in the army. This probably took me 30-40 hours to paint. Like this was like probably one of the hardest and longest models I've taken, like as far as like blending the power armor. It's all done by hand, and like I charged the same amount that I would sell this model for as I did all the characters. So no matter what the character was, I just like priced it at like $100 a character, essentially, is what I would charge for the models, right? And you guys can see that. And it's all of them are custom. All of my characters are basically bespoke, custom, scratch built with iconography, Soul Drinker's iconography. You can see you got the Soul Drinker's chalice on the belt, the shoulder pad, that kind of stuff, right? So almost all of the characters in the army are bespoke and scratch built. Like this guy that I showed off earlier, this is not a model that exists, right? The blade, like, so this is not a model that you can go and buy from the store. This is a custom scratch built model. So almost all of my characters are custom bespoke scratch built, and they took me many hours, way more hours than I would ever put into a commissioned paint job unless someone paid for it to paint, right? And I priced it accordingly. I priced it based on the amount of time that I put in, or I thought it was worth. And here's the thing, I had a bunch of people kind of come out in these groups basically saying like, oh, this army is like a ripoff, like you should never, that's like, it's way too much money, etc., right? Look, here's my perspective on it. Retail cost of my army, just the models themselves, was about $3,500 Canadian, right? And then the commission price, so how much I would charge to paint those models, and I actually priced them out. If I put them in my commission spreadsheet, at the low end is about $6,000. So that's just being really transparent with you guys. So an army of that size, if someone was like, hey, can you paint this army for me? I would charge around $6,000 to $7,000 to paint it. And that's on the low end because, for instance, as I said, the characters, right? I charged $100 per character flat, no matter that it was this guy, Ragnar Blackmane, that I put 100 and, almost 80 hours in, or if it was just a regular, guy that I put together in like 8 to 10 hours, right? $100, which is on average, it's about 6 hours. That's like you're allocating about 6 hours at $15 an hour for a character, which is not that much, right? So that's not very much time to paint a character to this level. If you can find someone that can paint a character to this level in 6.5 hours, I will be very impressed, right? So I charged all these prices, and I could have probably like charged more. Like I could have said, okay, for some of these characters, it's $200 a model, right? But I charged $100 a model for a character. People were like, okay, well the army is overpriced, or people shouldn't buy this. And I'm like, look, as an artist, and this is one of the biggest things that really bothers me about both people in the commission painting sphere, especially like, and then just in general, commission artists in general, not just Warhammer, but like musicians, other types of artists that do other kind of commission work. People undervalue their work so much, and it's a problem of the industry that a consumer, a customer, can look at an army that I've probably put 400, 500, 600 hours into easily, and I'm only charging $600 for $6,000, so less than minimum wage, even less than minimum wage, like half of minimum wage, probably slavery wages, and they can turn around and with a straight face say I'm overcharging. So and that mentality of like that person is overcharging, it's the fault of artists first, because artists undervalue their time and they don't stand up for their value and their time. So me saying no, this is what my time is worth, take it or leave it, is me saying no. If you don't like it, fuck you, right? Like, I'm gonna charge this much for my time that I think is worth, and even less than normal. And if you don't like it, then that's it. Like, that's what I charge for my time and my skill. I've been painting for 15 years. That's what you're paying for, right? And there's artists that are better than me, and there's probably some that are faster than me and better than me. And that's fine. You can go to those artists. But if the artists, if painters, musicians, DJs, whatever you want to call it, if they started valuing their time better, then what that does is it creates a lift in the industry where everyone now is understanding that, hey, for a commission artist or a pro painter to paint something at that high of a level, it that's what it costs, right? I've seen the FLG studio stuff that's like you know, like 3 colors base minimum, and I don't do anything like that. Every one of my intercessors is like highlighted as if it's a character, because I paint everything to the same kind of level, right? So I don't do this whole like, when I do commission painting, I don't do levels. I don't do like tabletop level. I do one level of painting, and that's the level of painting that I enjoy to do, and that's the value I put on my time. And I think other artists and other commission painters also need to do a better job of educating people on the actual time it takes to paint models at like scale and high level. Not to mention like the conversion time, the 3D printed parts, all that stuff. Like, not even really factoring that in. And the only way the industry people are going to start to understand that is if everyone does the same, right? Because if it's only like 1 or 2 artists, they're going to just seem like they're overpriced, right? But the problem is that so many artists undervalue their work, and it creates this situation in the industry where everyone now looks at like, you know, they look at it like, someone wanted me like $20 a model. Like, you paint me a Space Marine for $20. That's essentially at $10 an hour, which is below minimum wage. That's 2 hours to paint a Space Marine at a high quality. Like, you're not going to get anything good, worthwhile, right? So I just think that there's this like, I think there's this problem in the industry of artists undervaluing their time and their and undercharging. And that sucks for the consumer that want the pro painted army, right? Because now it's expensive. But at the end of the day, I think that like, that's like the only way it's going to get fixed is if like people charge what it's actually worth, right? And it's a hard problem to solve because, you know, especially if you're a new painter and you don't have a lot of like clients, or you're just trying to start out, your first instinct is to keep your prices really low. But what that does is it actually hurts other artists, right? It hurts a lot of other artists because now you're undercutting everyone, and it doesn't just make it so that other artists have to charge less prices, but it actually reduces the perception of value and like what things are worth to people, right? And I think that's like a huge issue in our hobby, which is that like people don't really value the time it takes to paint stuff. Anyway, so that's my rant. And for all those people that said I was overcharging, look, if you think it's too much money, then don't buy it. Don't insult me though with like lowball offers and like like, or get mad at me because you think I'm overcharging. Like, if you don't like it, move on. I don't buy $1,000 pairs of jeans or $2,000 shoes because I don't think that value is there for me. But there's some people that that value is there for. They see the quality, they see the like skill of the craftsmanship, and for them that is worth it. And ultimately, the cost, the value of something is worth what people are willing to pay for it, right? And so if you don't think it's worth it, then move along, and you don't need to comment. And if there's someone else there that thinks it's worth it, then good for them, right? Now, it's one thing if it's like, say for instance, like I'm buying something that's like $10 and I'm selling for $15 and you can go buy it for $10. That's a different story where like someone's actually like ripping someone off. But when it comes to like valuing people's art and time, I think people just need to like step back and just understand that like we, as an artist, like I value my time a certain amount, and if you don't like it, then like you don't have to like support me as an artist. What do you guys think of the blade so far? We're getting there. I've just been kind of talking and everything, but basically what I've done is I've painted some white along the center, the edges as well, to kind of give it a bit more look. And I'm just going to going in now and I'm just kind of fixing off some of the spots where I think it's like a little bit, needs a bit more blend. And you just kind of continue this process. But you guys remember how ugly the blade was at the start? I'm going in with some like really dark color now. I'm gonna like darken the dark and lighten the light just to help kind of sell it a bit more. So going into some extra dark here. Extra dark there, extra dark there. And then I'm gonna go in for some extra light at the very tips. Like almost white, but not quite white. I want to save the white, pure white, just for the edges. So like even though like this spot here is like basically white, I don't want to do any white there. I want to save that white just for the edges. This is the no, it's not quite what I thought, Kimbobo. This is a warlock from the Eldar range. I don't know, it's just a warlock, I guess. This is actually pewter, so I've owned this model for almost 19 years. I got in the original Eye of Terror set back in the day. I think it's a bit more orange than I like, so I think I'm gonna blend out some of the orange a bit into some more yellow. So I want like, so here you can see there's like more orange. I'm gonna kind of blend in a bit of yellow. Blend in some yellow. Blend in some yellow there. Blend in some yellow there. That's kind of the idea that I had though. So this was like my, where is it? Where'd she go? Oh. So this was kind of like the two styles, right? Yeah, it's a warlock, sorry. And there is a little bit of like not perfect blending here, so I'm gonna go back and like, I'm just trying to, it's hard to tell on the camera because you don't pick it up fully on the camera, but there's definitely some spots where it's like not as smooth. So I go in with like extremely thin glaze and just kind of like that. And then I'm gonna like, you can see here, it's like a little bit abrupt right here. See, there's like, it's not quite smooth as I like. So I'm gonna fix that as much as I can. And that's where kind of like just really thin glaze and glaze. and then like just repeating that glaze over and over. Anyway, so that's my kind of rant on this whole like there's been this drama in the sales groups on my soul drinkers. Look, if you don't like it, don't pay it and just move on. You don't need to comment that like it's overpriced or that you can't believe it's so expensive. Like that is the value of my time. I value my time as an artist, and I know how long I spent on that army. I know the amount of effort that went into like the conversions and into like the like all the work that I did on like all the custom models that are one of a kind. And I know like, so that's what it's worth, right? And if you don't like it, move along. That's my rant. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, look, if you don't like it, don't buy it. So that's kind of my thought. And the biggest thing, and this is like what I implore, I have this conversation because my cousin's a music producer, and I have quite a few friends that are DJs. And this is like a very prevalent problem in a lot of other creative industries. But one of the, I always yell at my DJ friends because they always like undervalue their work, right? In order to get gigs and stuff. It's like, no, whatever your fee is, pay, like, yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys have ever like here's the thing. I feel like Warhammer players or people that complain have never actually like hired a consultant of any kind or a marketing company or a creative agency of any kind. If you hire, say for instance, you're starting a new company and you need someone to make your logo, or you go to a creative agency to help you with branding, or you hire a marketing agency to help you with marketing, their rates are like crazy. And you're looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for like creative work, right? And I think people think that like that's like I don't know what people think, but like I can tell people have never actually like lived in the real world where like people that businesses like creative agencies and stuff that make money, they actually charge like normal real like money for it. They don't charge like Warhammer rates, you know what I'm saying? Are we back, guys? Sorry, my like stream just seemed to die for a sec. I think we're back. Sorry if you're on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. My my OBS just seemed to crash or something. I think everyone's back. Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah, anyway, so that's kind of my like my thought on like artists. Like it's just really important that people charge what they're worth, you know? And I don't think that's unreasonable. I think what's unreasonable is people expecting pro level work for like pennies on the dollar, or they're expecting artists to work for minimum wage, you know? I think that's what's like, that's like problematic in the industry, I think. And it's a reason that like commission painting is like not a thing, right? Yeah, exactly. I've seen people that paint at low level, or like, I don't want to say low level because I don't want to like denigrate like people's painting ability, but I have, okay, so give you an example. I know artists that paint way better than me, and I know artists that paint at a lower quality level or less time invested. And if that's what you want, if that's the quality you're looking for and you're happy with, then great. Find those artists that are willing to do the work at those rates and like hire them, right? For me, knowing that I paint everything at the same level, I don't do different I don't do like tabletop quality or like masterclass or silver or gold. I do everything at the same quality. It means that every model I paint, I'm like painting, like whether it's a cultist or like a avatar, I'm painting to like the best of my ability, or at least like at that level. And people just need to kind of understand that, right? right, so I think I'm happy with that, guys, right, for now. I'll probably come back to it later. Painting this like centerpiece. All right, there we go. The blade that was broken. Okay, so you guys saw how ugly it was at the start, right? So that's kind of like the technique. That's what I was thinking for the blade instead of this. And I think it definitely looks a lot better. Like, it looks more intense, right? So that's like one way to do it. Now my other option, and I don't know if I should just do it now, is to, and I think I will just do it now just so that we can have like a third option, and maybe you guys can kind of help me decide what option I should do. And I'll do the other side later. You guys don't need to watch it. It's going to be hard to stream anyways because it's going to be upside down. So it's not going to be very easy to... So I'll just throw that up there. Down there. So the other option I'm going to do is I want to do a blade that's like... yeah, so that's the other option. So the other option I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it right now. Let me just get this blade base coated in white. I'm drying. I'm going to do like a backwards blade. That's almost like lava. So I'm just going to base coat this in white. And give it a sec to dry. And then we'll try that out. And then we can kind of figure out which blade we want. Okay, so that's going to dry for a sec. I'm going to switch this guy off here. Ah. And double-sided tape. It's too strong. Okay. I definitely like that blade better. Like, I'm gonna fix the other blade at least, the bare minimum, to look like that one. Anyway, so that's kind of my Soul Drinkers drama. I've actually had quite a few people reach out, and this is the funny thing about it. Everyone's like, Jim, it's overpriced. I've had so many people reach out with interest, and like most people, yeah, it is probably slightly overpriced. But look, have you ever heard about negotiating? If I say started the army at like $4,000 or $5,000, I'd be getting offers of like $1,000. And then my final price would be somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to start it at like my buy it now price. Like if you said, yeah, I'll take it, I will ship it to you tomorrow. But I'm also willing to negotiate. And like, I've had a few people reach out and being like, hey, like it's a little bit high, but like, are you willing to negotiate? And like, I've never done a deal ever in my life where I haven't negotiated. Like I know in North American culture, it's like not very common to like negotiate. Like it's almost like, it's like haggling is like looked down upon. But in like almost every other culture, you haggle the price, right? Like you gotta, especially if it's like a negotiable thing, right? Like it's one thing if I go to the store and I'm trying to buy an Xbox, I'm obviously not going to try to haggle at Walmart. But if I'm buying, say, like furniture or something off Marketplace, or like something directly from you, that like, it's always negotiable, right? So talk to me, make me an offer that like you think is fair, and you know, if I think it's too low, I'll tell you. I've had a lot of people reach out and be like, hey, like multiple. I've had probably at least a half dozen people reach out on the army and be like, look, it's a little high for me, but like, would you be willing to do slightly lower? Would you be willing to do payments? Like someone asked me if I would do like a payment plan, which was pretty funny, which I would definitely do, right? Like if I trusted the person, I would definitely do a payment plan. Layaway, right? But yeah. Anyways, that's kind of my rant on it. I think people need to like look at this. Look at this model. Tell me that's not worth $100. I would normally, a model that took me this long, I'd probably charge $400 for. My Sarpedon model, the amount of parts in it, it's like $350 just in parts. It has I bought a resin Horus model, a Venom Crawler, and a giant spider from AOS. Those are like the 3 main models, which is like $300 in models. Just that, plus all the other bits. I'm not taking commissions right now, moving, because I'm trying to finish. I have an orc commission that I'm just about to finish the next few weeks, and then I want to do some traveling in February, and so I don't want to take on any projects. I'm just trying to clear off my commissions right now, and then when I'm back, maybe I will take some commissions, but it'll be like very selective. I want to just kind of do things that I'm like excited about and are really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this in yellow, actually in kind of white yellow. Okay, so this is the second, I guess, version of this blade we could do. I'm gonna go super bright again. Battle the blades today. Yeah, I did some Marvel Crisis Protocol. The thing with Marvel Crisis Protocol is like the models are fairly low. They're pretty quick to paint, like versus like a GW model. So I don't mind MCP. I did a few actually for some clients, and they're fun. Because the thing with Marvel too is like the color blocking is fairly basic. But yeah, I probably won't be taking any commissions till after I finish this. You got to remember, I've been doing commissions nonstop almost for 8 months. Almost a year. Like I had the crazy commissions through summer, and then I got really behind on the current commission. I'm just finishing this orc commission. I've had it for like 7 months in my queue, and I was hoping to have it done by the end of the year, but just with everything happening, my other commission dragged, and then yeah, it was just, and so it's shitty. It's shitty for me to like make commitments and not finish them. I don't like to be that person, so I'd like to finish everything up. And the other thing too is like painting inspiration wise, I want to be excited about the things that I paint and the projects that I do. So for me, like sometimes I think this whole idea of doing like armies and stuff for people is not my jam. I'd much rather do like a single unit or a single model. That's like cool. I'd like to do some more busts and large scale stuff as well. Anyways, so how about that Activision Xbox deal? What do you guys think of that? I'm actually kind of a mixed bag on it. Like, I think mergers in tech and especially the game industry are bad overall for the industry. I do think though that like with the troubles that Activision Blizzard is going through right now with like all the sexual harassment stuff, I don't think there's a way that they were gonna like fix the company without maybe kind of a clean slate like this. So I'm interested to see. Yeah, but like, is it gonna be any worse than so Xbox / Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $80 billion or $60-70 billion, which is like one of the largest deals. Well, it's like the largest like acquisition ever. And obviously Activision Blizzard has a ton of really big games, 70 billion. Yeah. The thing is for me, like I look at EA, right? And EA is like in a similar, I don't think they have now as many studios. My concern, and this is ultimately like what I don't like, is like EA is a studio. I used to love EA, right? Like EA Sports, I used to grow up on that. There's a lot of games that Electronic Arts used to make. And then obviously a lot of their companies that they bought, they ended up just shutting down, right? Which is, well, I think the problem though is, Eric, and this is like the big thing, like Blizzard as the name, I don't think you're ever going to get rid of that. I think Blizzard is like, has such a legacy name to it. Activision, sure, but like Activision isn't the bad part, right? It was the Blizzard part of Blizzard that was the bad part. So like, how do you, Blizzard has such a massive IP and like legacy that like, I think that it's gonna take, yeah, it's gonna take, now I'm really regretting buying my my PS5. I should have bought an Xbox instead. I'll probably just get one too. I just hope this doesn't lead to more exclusivities, because I think game exclusivities is like the worst, one of the worst things ever. Like, I bought a PS5 specifically for Final Fantasy VII and Bloodborne, and literally like 3 weeks after I bought it, they finally announced Final Fantasy VII on PC, but it took like almost a year and a half since Final Fantasy VII came out for them to put it on PC. My one hope is with Xbox, because Microsoft owns Xbox, that they do more PC Xbox releases at the same time. Because I'm a PC gamer. I'm not a console guy. Yeah, but that's the thing, Eric. Like Activision itself, like Activision makes its own games, like Call of Duty, right? So I don't necessarily think that Activision is going to need a I don't think there's much wrong with the name Activision. I think a lot of it is Blizzard. It's Activision Blizzard. Okay, so here's like version 3 of this blade, and this is gonna seem kind of crazy. What I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna do the opposite of what I just did. So I'm gonna paint, let's see here. And you guys can vote at the end to see what you like best. I'm taking my very dark red here, and I want to go edges, the dark red. Like that. And then I want to go edge here with the dark red. And again, I'm just going to do the front side of this blade, guys, because this kind of blending, it takes so long. And if I do both sides, you guys are going to be bored out of your minds. Okay, so dark line down the middle. Okay, so bear with me here. This looks kind of weird, but yeah, that's the other part, Kambobo, and I gotta agree. Like, Blizzard needs to like, don't get me wrong, I grew up on Diablo, I love Diablo. But in Diablo 2 Resurrected, I played the shit out of that, and in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 I played. I'm not excited for Diablo 4, you know? The IP just feels like, it feels like they're just doing the same old style of games. I'd much rather see them, like, maybe have new IP and also new styles of games. Obviously, StarCraft's an RTS, Diablo's an action RPG, and then they have, like, Overwatch and all that other shit, but I don't know. I just don't see it, I guess. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little bit of orange. Let's see here. I'm gonna kind of glaze in some orange here. Glaze in orange over the middle. You can see kind of, hopefully you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this. I actually want to use real orange for this though. A little. Yeah, I would imagine Kambobo, after all this like Blizzard shit, they kind of were like in a corner and they were like, the brand is getting toxic and the only way we can recover is by selling. So I just hope, like, I hope it doesn't result in like Bobby Kotick getting like a huge golden parachute and then like nothing really changing. Because that's those CEOs, they make so much money, right? Yeah, Speezy, I already did, I don't know if you just tuned in, but I already did a version of it earlier on the stream, this one. So now I'm doing like a second version. And I'm gonna just kind of see what people think. So this is like more of a traditional power sword look, which I just finished now. And then this one's gonna be more of like a molten inside out hot. So right now all I'm doing is really just glazing in some orange. But I'm gonna come back and blend everything smooth. But again, the reason I did that yellow first, guys, is it kind of sets the values, right? Yeah, so this was version 1, more of a traditional power sword look, and then this is going to be kind of the version 2. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to kind of go back and reinforce my yellow. Through here. Start glazing in more yellow. We were just talking about the Activision Blizzard merger, and I'm not like completely against it, because honestly, like, if it means that like maybe Xbox steps in and fucking gets Blizzard to actually do something good for once, it'd be cool. But I don't have a lot of faith. The one that I'm doing right now? Yeah, so the first one's more of a power sword look, and this is more of like an inside out glowing look, I guess. That's why I'm kind of doing the different versions, because I kind of want to figure out what I like better. Yeah. I mean, I know what like glowing, oh, I guess I know as much as I think I do what like glowing hot steel probably looks like. It's just kind of a backwards highlight, right? Like, essentially. Thanks, man. It's good, good to have your input then. That's the case. I don't think steel. I mean, this is not obviously steel because it's like Eldar jank, but I assume steel doesn't get white hot. It gets probably like bright orange, right? Unless like, or does it get like yellow? Anyways, yeah. Bobby Kotick is going to be... Look, Bobby Kotick probably could get fired tomorrow. Never work another day in his life. The guy's CEO of any of those big companies. They make like outrageous amounts of money. It's not even a question. Right? I just don't understand, like, when you're that rich, like, and you go through all that scandal, like, why you'd stick around. I'd be out of there. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to retire on my, like, fucking private island, you know? Wouldn't you guys? Yeah, but I mean, he's such a slug. Have you seen him? He literally looks like Jeff Bezos. Okay, you know, he's on the HGH. He's on the fucking steroids. He's got a 17 trainers. Bobby Kotick is like he looks like Jabba the Hutt. Like, he's not, you know, it's not like he's like gonna be like slaying girls or whatever. Ah, I don't know. I don't understand the whole thing. Maybe I need to be a rich CEO, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Or like the power, right? Like, was it Weinstein, Brett Weinstein? Whatever happened to him? Did he go to jail or did he die? Did he suicide himself? Am I thinking? I'm Epstein suicided. What happened to Weinstein? Is Weinstein in jail? Did Cosby die? Is he still in jail too? Can't keep track of all the pedos. He's in jail. Cosby's out. Weinstein's in jail. Epstein's dead, right? Yeah, okay. Hard to keep track, you know? Whatever happened to Louis C.K. after he like jerked off to like a bunch of girls? Did he ever? He came back, didn't he? I saw there's James Franco. He's back now too. It's so like, I don't know. It's just too much. I feel like there's no real consequences for the rich and famous, whether it's like being pervs or like breaking the law, you know? I'm just kind of going in, guys, and I'm just like doing like really small thin glazes on like to blend the colors in here. And then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna like I'm just kind of back and forth between like multiple colors to get the right consistency, I guess. Yeah, it's hard to tell, man. I could see Epstein being either way. Like I'm all for a good conspiracy theory, but I don't know. I love good conspiracy theory. What's your guys' most like conspiracy theory that you guys believe in, like most out there? I'm curious. Like any flat earthers or like moon landing people? And don't say COVID is like a conspiracy or something like that. I don't want to hear that. Not that I don't. I just, yeah, I don't want to get in a COVID debate, but what's like your, any conspiracies, guys, in here? What do you guys think of the blade compared? It's a much different, like, kind of style, right? More of like an inside-out heat. Any thoughts so far on like what you guys like? This is more of like the inside out molten lava blade versus like power sword style. I kind of like this version though, you know? There's something about it. Where it kind of looks like it's glowing. Let me paint the base of it just so you guys can see kind of the actual blade part a bit better. Don't look at the back. It's naked. Slash not done. Yeah, thanks. I think it needs a bit more yellow. You think? In the center there? Just like here. 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 And then I want to go like super white hot, just like you guys like this one style better or like this style better? For the whole army, right? This is a big choice. This one I feel like actually would be a lot quicker overall. This is definitely like more time consuming. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Which one's number 2? This one? This is number 1 and this is number 2. Yeah, I agree. I feel like it also gives it more of like an Eldar sense because like this is more power swordy and this is more like Eldar glowy magic. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. Eldar glowy magic. Eldar glowy magic is the best kind of magic, right? Just fix the bottom here. Has anyone watched yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? Like I'm thinking Avatar of Cain style. Has anyone watched Yellowstone? The show? I just started well, I want to say I just started watching it like a few weeks ago. And I've been like playing, I'm in home, so I've been like binging it and painting and playing video games. Is America really like that? Like, I've never been to Montana. Well, I've like trained through it. But like, is America really like that? Where like everyone's killing everyone constantly over like just the stupidest shit and like shooting everyone. So I feel like Montana being a state that is like pretty chill, I thought like a whole lot of people die really quickly very often in that show. I don't know if you guys have watched it. It's on, I've been catching it on Prime. Maybe I'll do a... Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think I like this one better. It's basically about ranchers. Like, I don't even know why I like it. Well, Kevin Costner's in it, who I like. But it's about... It reminds me of, like, Sons of Anarchy, but, like, on a ranch. That's literally, like, what it is. So if you like Sons of Anarchy, that's, like, basically what it is. But it's, like, a bunch of ranchers in Montana. And, like, literally, in, like, one day, like, 6 people die. And I'm like, isn't this small town Montana, like... If this many people were dying on a daily and getting shot, wouldn't that be like a bigger news story considering Montana's like half the size of fucking everything? It's like tiny. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm torn, guys. I think what I'm gonna do is I'll paint the models for the finish. So I can agree that this blade is definitely out. This style of blade is definitely out. So I'm gonna repaint this. I think if I repaint it to that style, it'll be the best, personally. I should probably paint the backs too at some point. And not just pretend. Yeah, it reminds me of I don't know. I just didn't think everyone like people just get into shootouts so easily. Like I know you guys have pretty lax like crazy gun laws and stuff, but it just seems like every minute people are getting shot. And like they're in like crazy, and there's so much crime in shootouts. And I get it's a show, but like I don't know, it makes me not want to go to Montana. Ever. Not that I would ever have a reason to. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I've been to like small town USA. But Montana seems especially fucked based on the show. If I listen to what the show said. Okay, so edges black. There we go. All right. See here. That's kind of the blade, guys. I think that's the way to go. The whole army. Kind of like molten inside out blade. What's Missoula? What the hell's Missoula, corpse? All right, guys. All right, I think that's gonna be it for today. Got through the 2 power swords. I'll throw them in the Discord. Maybe throw a vote in there if you guys want to. Yeah, sorry for all the stream interruptions. I think we have like 3 streams at one point. So I will be back tomorrow. I'm doing some Savage rating in Final Fantasy 14. And then Thursday and Friday, just regular painting streams. So tune in at 5 o'clock. Yeah, hoping to probably be working on orcs for the rest of the week. So tune in on those days. Kind of that work situation. So thanks everyone for tuning in.